TnB Season 1 Round 3 of the GTS Multi-Tier Endurance Championship. We'll be at Tokyo Expressway and be using the East Outer Loop. Let's hope everyone gets away cleanly. We have 8 runners. It'll be interesting into that first braking zone. And away we go. Killer Monkey in first. Gets a good launch off the line, but Judge challenging him straight away. Judge goes through. Captain Ice now in third. He's positioning himself nicely. Now everything's a little bit mixed. Can't really see what's happening. We'll get a clearer indication after this first corner. Captain Ice briefly led the race there. A little bit of a collision. It stands, we've got the Judge in the lead, Captain Ice second, TnB DW in third. But leave 2 Vipers there in second and third. The Muna in fourth. One of the quicker drivers on the circuit, so going to see a lot more of him before this is over. Monet in fifth. And another one of the Vipers, popular car on the day. Nuclear Monkey in 6th place. One of the Beetles. Definitely swarming all over the back of Monet there. Wants to get up into 5th place. It's happening further back. We've got Savvy in 7th place, and he's in a battle with Fossey. These two are in a battle all by themselves. Runs a bit wide there. Savvy runs a bit wide there, takes out a few of the cones, and that's going to allow Fossey through on the inside. Savvy hasn't quite given that position up. He's come past him on the outside as they head down the straight. Not quite sure what happened with Fossey. And there seems to be a problem there on Fossey's car. Not sure what that was all about. Slowed right down to a dead standstill on the straight. Now seems to have gotten going again. But yeah, he let Savvy go 13 seconds up the road, so not sure what that was all about. In the meantime, lap 2, Captain Ice still leads this race. He leads it by 0.3 of a second from the Judge, so nothing in it. And Muna has found himself in 3rd place. I'm sure those top 2 are going to have their hands full. Muna not known for ending in 3rd place. TnB DW still in 4th. Riding around on the back there of 3rd. Seems like we have the top 4 in a battle, and then we have 5th and 6th in their own battle. And Savvy going about his own business in 7th place. It's an endurance race, of course, so these gaps don't mean as much as you may think. And simply having a clean race can find you in a very favourable position at the end of it. Monet and Nuclear Monkey, they're at it again. Side by side in the tunnel. The Beetle and the Viper seem to be matching each other in pace for the time being. Just going back to this top four, still awfully close together. About 1.5 seconds in between the four cars. Again, don't trust my maths. If you've ever heard me streaming before, you'll know not to trust my maths. Monet has taken the lead of this race, and he's immediately started to extend that gap. 1.7 seconds already. Just seems like doesn't matter which game you're gonna give him, if it involves cars, if it involves motorsport. He's right up there on the pace, no matter what game it is. And that gap now 2.2 seconds at this very early part of the race. VW for the time being, don't know if he's choosing to just stay behind second and third here, or if he doesn't have the pace to stay with them. Maybe just safer to keep a few car lengths. Two are switching positions. Things could get messy. Perhaps a nice through on the inside, retakes second place for now. He's held on to it. Judge the motor down to third. DW still in fourth, just keeping that safe distance. Monet in fifth, Nuclear Monkey in sixth. Seems like their tussle has ended for now. Got a 1.8 second gap between the two of them. As we were watching there, we just saw Nuclear Monkey run a touch wide, just tapping the wall there with the back left there of the car. Just got to remember, damage is on, and this track, without having any run-off areas, I can't imagine it to be the most comfortable track to do laps on when you've got damage. So I'm going to want to keep it out of the walls. Let's just go down the list and see who has damage, and confirm that first place, the Munna, no damage. Second place, Captain Ice, he does have a bit of damage to his car, to the front right. Judge in third place, no damage. The W seems to be suffering a little bit of damage on his front left. Monet, nothing as of yet. Nuclear Monkey, the entire front, left and right. And maybe that's why, I guess that explains why that battle came to an end. Then down in seventh place, coming into the pits now, we've got Savvy. He had damage to the front left. Coming in for a set of hard tires. Presume he will also fill up the tank and fix that damage. Maybe a lengthy pit stop. Comes is out of the pits now. Very short pit exit and back up to racing speed. A few seconds ago he was stationary, up to 220 kilometers an hour in no time. But now almost a minute the drift of your leader. That gap now almost 6 seconds. I've seen him do this before. Just sort of let him get away in the beginning, and halfway through the race, that gap is ridiculously big. Captain Ice in second place. He's holding it all together for now. Still got that damage on the front right. Doesn't seem to be bothering him at the moment. Let's go down to third because I see a bit of a battle. Third and fourth now. DW's pulling up alongside. Is he going to try? That's very close. He's going to go up the inside here, surely. Doesn't want to run wide. And he doesn't. Nicely done. We'll have a position switch. DW up to third, Judge down to fourth. And he'll want to get off to Captain Ice. Because that gap is 7 seconds after lap 6. Currently the holder of the fastest lap of the race so far. Only been 6 laps, but it's a pretty impressive lap time. It's a 2-minute 1 flat. They were doing I think Munir's time in practice was a 2-minute 0.5, so only half a second slower than his in his quali pace on an open track. Captain Ice in second and DW approaching 0.8 of a second. Now the gap between second and third. 2 of the Vipers in our field today. Actually have a look how many Vipers. It's just the 3. Seemed like a lot more. That means Captain Ice changed cars there the last minute. Now DW alongside, he's gonna try around the outside. Decides against it. Captain Ice runs wide, touches the wall. They have a bit of a collision, and the positions are going to remain the same for now. But let's hope they didn't get damage. Captain Ice does have damage. Was on the front right, now it's on the front, well, it's the entire front. So that's obviously going to make his life a little bit more difficult, trying to keep DW behind when the car is not working the way it should. Now second, third and fourth really close. Things could get messy here. Keep an eye on this battle. And the Judge braking very late, going up the inside, trying to get third place away from DW there. He almost succeeded. Not quite. But right on the gearbox of the Viper now. And he's swarming. Now they go side by side down the straight. Gonna come down to straight line speed or who got the better traction. And the Judge is promoted up to third place. DW loses a position. He hasn't given that up just yet. He's gonna come back at him. And look at that. Where did that come from? Captain Ice now down to third. Positions are changing here between second, third and fourth. Now DW and Captain Ice seem to be making contact again. And DW again just chooses to tuck in behind. Don't want a significant amount of damage at this early part of the race. You haven't used up the full potential of your tyres. Handicap the rest of your race. Judge in second there, and he's just done his whatever sector that is, his personal best in that sector. There's way too many sectors, there's something like 5. DW now up into second place, runs wide, and well, I actually thought he'd be down to fourth. It looked like it briefly, but he's managed to hold on to third, and yeah, they just keep switching positions. I think each one of them have had second, and all of them have been in fourth. DW now dives into the pits. That leaves Captain Ice and the Judge through the tunnel side by side, up the hill. Now it's going to be who's later on the brakes, and Captain Ice decides against it. Does he get him on the brakes? Yes, he does. Goes up the inside, runs wide. Will Judge get him back on the way out? Nicely done. He's going to hold on to second for now. Let's see, DW has now rejoined the track. He's in fourth place. Tell you that he was obviously in a battle with second and third. He's now in fourth, 23 seconds behind, so I'm going to assume that's let's say between 20 and 30 seconds for a pit stop. Well, it also depends on damage and how much fuel they're putting in. Don't think he would have put in too much fuel, probably wasn't running on empty just yet. Now what makes it interesting is that his pit stop's going to be out of sync with second and third. Would have been an undercut. Let these two battle, let them waste time. He goes into the pits, comes out, he's got clean air, except some fast lap times while these two battle, and seems to be working for now, because when he came out of the pits it was 23 seconds, it's now 21. As I say that, the Judge makes a mistake, takes too much of the inside and takes a bit of the barrier. He's just lost a bit of ground. So that gap between second and third opens up to 2 seconds for the first time in a while. Captain Ice can take a breath. Nuclear Monkey, he's in 5th place. Hasn't been able to get away from Mornay. These two have been at it basically the entire race. Just a second in between them. Then making up the field in 7th place, we've got Savvy. Just looking at his lap times, he's obviously having a bit of a problem with consistency. But after an hour and a half of this, you'll know the track, you'll know the braking points. So if you didn't know it before this, you'll definitely know it after. As I say that, I see the car ghosts briefly. And now getting back up to racing speed. Munna leads this race by 20, call it 25 seconds. And that can be for two reasons. Reason number one, obviously he's extremely quick. But reason number two, second, third and fourth, for a long time they were fighting and destroying each other's lap times potentially. And it's just allowed this man to run off in the distance. 25 seconds in the lead, and it's only lap 11. That pit stop seems to have worked for DW. Like I mentioned, when he came out of the pits, 23 seconds was the gap to third place. It's now 13 seconds, so he's managed to make up 10 seconds in 2 or 3 laps. Could it be because second and third are fighting? Second and third both have damage. Plus they're pretty close to each other on circuit. Even if you're not battling, it can still put you off slightly. And it's just allowing DW to get a free pit stop really. Might even catch up to them before they stop. See how much fuel they've got. No, these two do need to come in. Fuel is on the low side for both of them. Very similar fuel consumption up to this point. And that will obviously hand DW second place. Another thing, if you have a look at the fuel, second and third, the fuel consumption has been pretty much identical. If you look at Munna, who's 30 seconds in the lead, you would be presuming that he's pushing. But if you look at his fuel consumption, you may just get depressed, because I don't think he's in the highest fuel mix. Fuel now critically low for both second and third. They're in the red. They're going to need to come into the pits. Wonder if they're obviously going to have to come in on the same lap. And that gap between third and fourth, just 7.5 seconds now. Hope I'm not exaggerating this, but I really hope these two don't run out of fuel, because where is the pits? It looks like they will make it to the pits, but wow, that's really taking it down to fumes. And they both dive into the pits. Where is DW? He's going past the pits now, so he's going to go up into second. That's worked out nicely for him. Now another thing to remember is third and fourth place over here. They went very, very low on their fuel, so going to have to spend some extra time in the pits if they intend on filling those cars. Both leave the pits simultaneously. Full tank of fuel, and off they go. And the battle continues straight out of the pits. That in the meantime obviously promoted DW into second. And that gap at the front now, 39 seconds. Let's try and get a bearing on the Munna's situation. See what his tyres look like. The fuel's not what I'd call critically low, but I'd say probably in the next lap or two, Munna, and as I say that, he dives into the pits. I said earlier about 20 odd seconds for a pit stop. DW 40 seconds behind. Where is DW? Munna still stationary. But this can play a trick on you, because this pit exit is very quick, and Munna rejoins the circuit. I'll tell you in a few moments what the gap is now. Well, 16 seconds. Third place Captain Ice, fourth place the Judge, still going at it. Having a very eventful race, these two. Neither one willing to let up. It's what you want to see on a race circuit. Captain Ice down the inside yet again. Feels like I've said that 100 times this race, but it's only lap 14. These two have just been at it since the beginning of the race. And they've both briefly led the race. So as I say, very eventful race for both of them. DW now, let's see how that gap is at the front. It was 15 seconds, it's now 13 point. And as I was going to read that, it changed. 12.5 seconds is the gap now at the front. Let's have a look at fifth place, Nuclear Monkey. Seems to have opened up that gap to Monet now. 5 seconds the gap. So definitely some breathing space. Tell you Monet does have damage again to the front left of the car. So you got to wonder if that's the only reason he's opened up that gap of 4 seconds, or if there was some other mistake, or maybe a collision. May only be 7 cars on track, but so much action happens, and can only look at one screen at a time. It's unfortunate. I wish I could catch more of the action. Savvy's still running around there in 7th. I'll tell you that the hour mark has just passed. Now at 59 minutes remaining, so 1/3 of the race completed. We have 7 of our 8 starters. Now Muna coming up to lap Savvy for what I believe is the first time. Savvy's car will immediately ghost. Muna should get through here without any problems. Not sure why Savvy took so long to respond to the blue flags, but gave me like 3 blue flags in a matter of 2 seconds. There wasn't much time to gap at the front now, just starting to grow a little bit. 14.5 seconds. DW will be monitoring that gap. Current championship leader in 2nd place. And he only holds the championship lead by 3 points from Captain Ice, who finds himself in 4th. And Muna's in the lead. He's not on the championship points as of yet. But he's going to take quite a jump in the championship. And if he carries on like this, within 2 or 3 races he's going to be right up there. Now DW coming through to lap Savvy. Didn't seem like there were any issues there. Gap still 16 seconds. But the judge still in 3rd place. It's now opened up a gap to Captain Ice. They don't seem to be bugging each other for the time being. That gap up to 6.7 seconds. Not sure what the cause of that was. Well, that seems to be the cause of that. He's got damage. A lot of damage. Wonder if this is going to force him into the pits a lot earlier than he would have wanted. And the gap to 5th place, Nuclear Monkey, is only 11 seconds, and it's dropping quite quickly, so that damage is having an effect on the car. Could just lose 4th place here. Not going very quick. I'm sure this is going to bring him into the pits. He dives into the pits. It's a lot of repair. It could be a lengthy pit stop. I can tell you Nuclear Monkey's just been promoted up to 4th place. I think he'll be happy with that. When he sees that, and Captain Ice is back on circuit, and he comes back onto the track and regains 5th place. Lost 1 position there to Nuclear Monkey, and he was very close behind the judge, so he was actually fighting for 3rd. And whatever happened in that incident, it's cost him a position, and potentially 2. Monet in 6th place. Actually thought he may come into that battle for 5th place with Captain Ice, but quite a substantial gap for now, 19 seconds. Monet's now setting purples. He's pushing. He beat his own fastest lap on lap 15. He made a 1:59.6, which is quicker than anything we saw in qualifying. It's quite remarkable. Then he followed that up with 2 laps of 2 minutes apiece. And another purple sector. So maybe another dip into the 1:59s on the way. Having a look at DW's times, from what I can see, he has also dipped into the 2-minute mark. The best lap I can see on this screen is 2:04. As far as I know, I'm one of the only men to have dipped into the 1:59s. That sector's not purple, but it's awfully close, just 1/100th of a second off his previous best. Goes over the line, doesn't let's see, it's going to dip back into the 1:59s. Just touching the wall there, running a little bit wide. He is pushing at this early stage of the race. Let's have a look at the man in second. 20 seconds adrift of your leader. May not be the quickest man on track, but the consistency there in the lap times, they really tell. Tell you that in DW's last 8 laps, 6 of them have been 2:01, so a lot of consistency there, and the other 2 were 2 minutes flat, so showing a lot of consistency. That's why he finds himself in second. He hasn't been in any unnecessary confrontations just yet. Judge still running around in third place. Had Captain Ice with him for most of the race, and not quite sure what happened, but when I was able to tune in, I saw Captain Ice had a lot of damage, was losing a lot of time, had to come into the pits, and then landed up losing his 4th place. So with the current man in 4th place, that's Nuclear Monkey. Definitely the bodywork of the Beetle has looked better. Doubt it was designed to look like that. Captain Ice in 5th place. Looking to close that gap down to 4th, 13 seconds now. And you know, he's got superior pace around this track, he just needs to find it. Really had the pace in the last couple of laps. His last couple of laps, the best he could do was a 2:03.5. So just struggling for pace. DW into the pits. He's going to go onto a set of softs. He's running on low fuel, so he's probably going to be stationary for a while they fill that up. Let's have a look at the judge. Judge was 49 seconds behind, so I think DW, and he rejoins the circuit. There's the short pit exit I keep on talking about, and he's going to rejoin in second. He hasn't lost his position. What's going to make it interesting is that pit stops between first and second are completely out of sync. While one man is running around on half a tank exactly, the other runs around on a full tank. Could make for maybe an interesting drama at the end. If DW can get that gap within 20 seconds. Fastest lap for the time being, still that lap set by Munna on lap 15, a 1:59.6. Savvy is in the pits. So doing a lot of work to the body. You see some damage there. It's been stationary for a while. That gap at the front getting awfully close to 50 seconds now. But remember, they can be on completely different strategies. They could have completely different ideas of what they're trying to accomplish. And I could be reading it all wrong. See, I don't know what the guys are up to. I can only talk to one driver in this entire field, and he doesn't like talking. So I don't know who's doing what. I actually remember when we first started doing some endurance racing, and well, when I still used to actually play the game, an hour and a half felt like a long time. We decided to have a few hour and a half endurance races, have a mini championship, and I remember after the first round we were considering if this hour and a half thing was a good idea. It was a very long race, but now the guys seem to go through an hour and a half like it's nothing. I'll tell you that we've just passed the halfway stage in this race, 44 minutes remaining. So at halfway, your leader is the Munna. He's been controlling this race since the beginning. Second place, you've got TnB DW. Third place, still the judge. Holding on to third place, holding on to a podium position. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked at it. It's not in front of me, I don't know where it is, but when I did look at it, I'm pretty sure judge was on 20 points in the championship. So this will be some good points. Captain Ice ahead of him in the championship, so this will give him the chance to close that gap. Championship leader obviously running around in second, so he won't get maximum points if it ends like this. Let's just have a look at Savvy. Is he in the pits again, or is he still in the pits? I'm not quite sure what's happening there. The Monkey still in 5th place, doing a good job. And Nuclear Monkey and Monet, for such a long part of the race, they were together battling. Every time I tuned in, there was some action between the two of them. But now that gap has opened up to 33 seconds, half a minute. But I wonder if that was the last of the battles we've seen between them before the end of the race. Surely not. Got almost halfway of the race to go. We're on lap 23, a little under halfway, so let's say maybe another 20 laps. So maybe 43, 44 laps, somewhere there. Let's call it 44 laps. Everyone's favourite number. Car of Savvy's still sitting in the pits, and surely the mechanics are getting tired of kneeling in that position. And this bloke's just running up and down. He looks at the bonnet, he runs to the back, looks at the boot. Not quite sure what his plan is, but yeah, that car remains stationary for the time being. If I see it get back on track, I'll let you know. Talking about the pits, Muna has just come into the pits. That gap was 42 seconds. He rejoins the track now. I won't tell you the gap just yet because I've learned from experience this game plays tricks on you. When the gap stabilizes, I'll tell you what it is. There we go. 18 seconds. Still not stabilized. $14 and dropping. Maybe Muna just trying to get up to speed while DW is probably on the straight. They made up a lot of ground there. Gap is 14 seconds. It's less than a pit stop. So that's why I say the out of sync pit stop could come into play at the end of the race. Wonder who's got the better math skills. Definitely not me, that's why I'm in the commentary box. Judge is in the pits in third place. And he's lost his position in the pits. That's promoted Captain Ice back up to third. Position he found himself in for a lot of the race. Fear he won't be able to hold on to that third place for very long. Now monitor the gap between third and fourth. It's currently 6 seconds. He's going to have to try and Captain Ice, that is, he's going to try and extend that gap as much as possible before he needs to come in for his own pit stop. Looks like he's been pushing. Tires on the right degrading a lot faster than the tires on the left degrading a lot faster than the tires on the right. Watching DW in second. One thing I always have to point out is his tire usage. It's just less than everybody else, and I don't know why it is. And we actually spoke about it briefly, and I don't know if he was telling the truth or not, but he said he didn't know why. So, and it's across multiple games, it's not just this one. Seems to just get a little bit more out of the tires. The race is not over yet. Gap is 15 seconds. Pit stops are out of sync. So fuel and tyre usage is going to play its part. And it may even determine the winner. Obviously no penalties anyone has to worry about. In this game you pretty much serve your penalty immediately. Just to update you on some of the TnB drivers that are not here tonight. TnB Wazi, one of them, he's currently racing in another league tonight. And I just want to say congratulations, he finished 4th. Fortunately didn't watch the race, but I'll have a look afterwards. I'm sure it was a good one. The good for Wazzy to get a good position. He's been having a bit of bad luck lately. And hopefully that hasn't just charged them up for tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, our big night, our F1 night, will be in Austria tomorrow night at the Red Bull Ring. We were there last week, but PSN decided to cancel our event, so we've moved it to tomorrow. I'm actually looking forward to that. Back to the race at hand. Here at round 3 at the Tokyo Expressway. Winner still leads this race. 16.5 seconds the gap. TnB DW still in second. Captain Nice in third. And he is extending that gap to 4th place. For 6 seconds, it's now 9. Doesn't have an awful amount of fuel in the car, so I don't know how much longer he'll go. Another thing to keep in mind is if you stretch the fuel to the maximum, obviously you risk running out of it. And the other thing to worry about is that you're going to spend an awful lot of time in the pits. It's going to be a long pit stop. Judge currently going around in 4th, but podium position is definitely on the cards. Not sure if I missed it, but just to confirm, Savvy has left the session. Car was in the pits for an awfully long time and then left the session. So that leaves us with 6 runners. Mornay rounds up the field in 6th place. 37 seconds behind Nuclear Monkey in 5th. Just 3.5 seconds actually separating the Judge in 4th and Nuclear Monkey in 5th. Third place, Captain Ice. He's been able to extend that gap to the Judge up to 10 seconds now. If he wants to make a pit stop and retain his position, he's going to need to that gap's going to need to be around the 25-second mark. Screen's just showing me something very funny, so I'm not able to tell you the gap between 2nd and 3rd. So I see a gap, but I don't think it's right, because it suggests that they should be very close to each other, and they're not. So I'm not quite sure what's happening with that. Could still potentially have an interesting finish for first here, as well as for the final podium position. As I say, that Captain Ice is in the pits. Goes on to super softs. And he's dropped. Judge has gone through. Nuclear Monkey has gone through. Judge still stationary in the pits. As I say that, he gets away. And he's going to come back into the race in 5th place. I tell you, Nuclear Monkey in 4th still needs to make a pit stop. So that should promote Captain Ice to 4th. Under 30 minutes now remaining, so we've done 2/3 race distance. Just the final third to go. Fortunately, not too many battles on circuit to talk about. Now at this late stage of the race, it's all about patience, keeping it clean. Don't want to get damage. You don't want to make a silly mistake. Run out of fuel. That gap just increasing ever so slightly, now 19 seconds. DW won't want that gap to climb much more. Watching Monet in the pits, he was in 6th place. Nothing's going to change, he's going to remain in 6th place. Judge is in 5th, Captain Ice in 4th. Gap is just half a second. These two are going to battle on track. It's getting a bit excited here, the volume's going up. It's the first battle I've seen in a while. Hope we don't see contact. Captain Ice up in 4th. Nuclear Monkey in 3rd. He's got critically low fuel, so surely he's going to come in any time now. And that'll promote Captain Ice to 3rd place. So he managed to close that gap to the judge. Nuclear Monkey now into the pits. That fuel was almost finished. He's going to go on to a set of super softs. Fuel still going in, that fuel was low. Like I say, it makes the pit stop a lot longer. he's on his way, and he's going to rejoin the race in 5th place. So now after that round of pit stops, 6 runners left, and as they read, it's Mune in 1st place. He leads by 17 seconds from DW. And then in 3rd place you've got Captain Ice and the judge, and that 3rd place is not confirmed just yet. These two are still fighting out on circuit. Very close racing here between 3rd and 4th. It's the final podium position and they both want it. Captain Ice 2nd in the championship. Not far behind DW, 3 points I believe. So want to finish in 3rd, doesn't want to finish too far behind DW, could just let him run away with the championship a bit. So let's stay within touching distance. Judge has come into the pits. He had damage on the front or left of the car. As that handed Captain Ice the podium. He's got no damage on his car. His tyres look good. Still got a lot of fuel. DW's in 2nd, but that fuel now crucially low. Haven't seen anyone run out of fuel yet on track. These guys have been pushing the limits. It's 22 minutes remaining. That gap at the front still 17 seconds. We know that that gap is within a pit window. Keep our eyes on that till the end of the race. It's going to take 2 minutes and I'll be back with you guys shortly. Enjoy the footage. Mona's in the pits. DW obviously made a pit stop because that gap went up to 42 seconds. Now Muna has made a pit stop. Be able to tell you in a few moments what that gap is now. I'm not going to tell you just yet because I don't trust the timing. And the fastest lap of the race is still the lap set on lap 15. A 1:59.6. That gap on my timing screen now just starting to show some signs of stability, and it seems like well, they've come out pretty even after that pit stop. They went in pretty much. I remember the gap was 17 seconds. It's still 17 seconds. So these two spot on. "18 minutes to go." These guys have been going at it for an hour and 10 minutes. Tiredness can set in. Mistakes can happen. We know we've got damage on in this game, and damage plays a big part. Can make the car extremely difficult to drive, can force you into the pits, can cost you a position. So not all is said and done just yet. That gap, just 18 seconds, anything could happen. Captain Ice still in third for the time being. Looks like he may have secured that podium. Gap down to the judge in fourth is 20 seconds. Quite a substantial gap. Judge in fourth, followed closely by Nuclear Monkey in fifth. Not going to give up on that position, not going to give up on that fourth place just yet. Valuable points at stake. And Monet rounding up the field in sixth place. First and second now are really matching each other for pace. Don't know if Munoz made a mistake, but that last lap wasn't his normal pace. Was that his outlap? Well, if it was his outlap, he's faster than me on his outlap. Had a short practice session before the race, and I decided, oh, why don't I have a lap? And I did. It's a good thing I'm in the commentary box today. that gap at the front. Just 15 seconds now, and now breaking down into the 14-second mark. Showing a lot of promise. Let's have a look. Does Munna maybe have damage? That's what... something must be going on. It does have damage. Front right. I don't know how much that is affecting him. Could be minor damage. I've seen guys finish the race on this sort of damage. But if that gap at the front continues to drop, things could get interesting. Minutes to go. This guy's lapping in the low 2 minutes, so probably six laps to go. I'm gonna miss out on Magic 44. These guys need to speed up. I'm just keeping my eyes on that gap between first and second. Actually quite a difficult track to monitor the gap. You've got your one or two parts of the track that are relatively tight, and you've got other parts of the track that, well, they look like you're on a freeway. So while somebody may be going through a couple of corners and maybe touching a wall, the other person's doing 250 k's an hour, and that's why the gap sometimes goes up by 2 or 3 seconds in the lap and then comes back down. Can't read it straight away, gotta give it some time. Looking at Munna's livery, can't miss him on track. Literally has the name on the bonnet. He's wearing it proudly today. 14 seconds is still the gap. 11 minutes remaining, so I doubt pit stops are going to come into this. Have a look at the fuel levels. That fuel levels between first and second are identical, and tire usage is pretty much identical too. Maybe a little bit more for DW. Nothing significant. They're going to have similar pace. If you have a look at their laps, I'd say the last 5 laps, DW has consistently taken something out of the leader, so I wonder if that damage is coming into play. I don't think he's had damage for most of the race, so maybe just battling to come to terms with this car. difficult to do 30 odd laps with a car that's working perfectly, and then suddenly you have to finish the race with a car that doesn't feel so good. There will be no pit stops there. Muna stays out. Can obviously handle the damage. Doesn't feel it's too severe. The gap is coming down, but I don't think it's coming down at a rate that DW could get there unless there's some sort of a mistake. Captain I still in third, holding on to third. The gap was 20 seconds, it's now 15, which means Nuclear Monkey in fourth has made up some time, putting in some quick laps. Final attempt at that podium spot, so close. Judges in fifth. He's had a real mixed bag of a race. In fact, led the race very briefly, but he did lead it. And I think he's found himself in pretty much every single position there's been. So he's currently in fifth, having a lonely race. Nuclear Monkey 23 seconds up the road, and Monet, I think that means he's a minute 20 behind. Seven and a half minutes to go. I just want them to do another 4 laps. But if it's 45, I'm really not going to be impressed. So calculate this right. Gap at the front, 9 seconds now, so into the single digits. DW does a purple sector. Now I wonder if he's getting some slipstream here from the lapped cars. That could be the case. He's making the most of it. That gap now 8.5 seconds. That seems to be the last of the lapped cars for now, and that gap is 8.6 seconds. Follow Muna for a while. So yeah, he's going about it. Car doesn't have any more damage than it already had. Still doesn't seem to be anything too severe. But it is definitely affecting his lap times. They're not the 2-minute flats anymore. In fact, DW doing 2-minute 01s, and leader doing 2-minute 03s. But I think even 2 seconds a lap, it's not going to be quite enough. It's a good example for what endurance racing is all about. At one stage Muna led this race by almost a minute. Briefly went into the 50 seconds, and now almost an hour and a half later, still in the lead, but challenging in second place, and that didn't look like a possible outcome earlier on. Like any motorsport, you've got to have the pace, but you've also got to have patience. Four minutes now left on the clock. Sorry about that. I'm back. Well, that gap between first and second, 4 seconds now. Winner doesn't want to make any sort of mistake. I think even a small mistake, running wide, hitting a barrier too hard, losing momentum, and this victory could be at risk. Fastest lap hasn't changed since lap 15, when Winner did a 1:59.6. That was a long time ago. Almost 30 laps to go. Nobody's been able to beat it. And now lapping in the 2:04s. And he takes a bit of barrier there. Not sure if he really took a bit of barrier or if that was my connection, but I think he did, because that gap's dropped. 2.2 seconds now, just getting what appeared to me to be some oversteer. Took him in the direction he did not want to go. And oh my word, 1.4 seconds in between the leaders on lap 44. Well, I knew something about lap 44 was going to be exciting. It wasn't going to be the end of the race, but look at that, the leaders are battling after 44 laps, when both of them spent most of their race alone. The battle is going to be intense now. They've both been on track for just under an hour and a half, and it's going to come down to this. It's going to be a sprint race, really. When they've got damage to the entire front side of his car now, DW with no damage. What an end to the race this is going to be. Gap just opening up to 1.7 seconds and some respite in what seemed to be a sprint to the end. Now just backing off, getting a bit of damage. There's obviously contact, and maybe they've just both settled for their positions. That's going to be the end of the race. Munna's going to come over the line to win. DW comes over the line in second. Gave us a bit of a show there in the last couple of laps. I said I wouldn't be impressed if it was 45 laps, but well, nicely done. So you get 2 finishes. Mornay's come over the line. He's been classified in 6th. Captain Ice, 3rd place. Nicely done. Some good points. Nuclear Monkey over the line in 4th place. So just waiting for the judge. He's going to go over the line any second now. And there you have it. Well, TnB round 3. There's your winner. Winner taking victory in what I believe is his first appearance, and sure it's not going to be the last victory. Just before we go, never mind. I just want to say thanks for everyone who joined us. We'll be back tomorrow night actually with F1 2017, round 7 of season 4, and we'll be at the Red Bull Ring. Join us then. Thanks again. Great stuff.